What's good, homies? What's good? What's good? It's your man King Ray Ray back again, representing. Appreciate everybody being in the joint. Let's see what we got here. Give the people a few minutes to slide up in the joint. As you can see, we on CP time. Rashad Melvin, salute. MPI, salute. Manifesting Leaders, J Lax, salute. Philip Riggins, salute. Lax and Chevys, salute to you, man. I appreciate you brothers being in the building, man. We're going to touch on a fairly unique topic, man. Something a little bit different this time, man. Let me make sure, man, that I'm looking presentable in the camera, man. Should have took care of that beforehand, but we here. Chief, salute. Michael, what's up, man? B. Underwood, I see you, brother. Octavio, what's good? Jamaric Satterwhite, appreciate the $5 super sticker, bro. Mike is so dope. What up, Mike? Dev, salute, salute. Sins World, salute. Appreciate everybody being in the joint, man. If you want more of this type of content, then do subscribe to the King Ray Ray channel. This is a King Ray Ray show, but it is being simulcast live to the BOA channel as well as to funnel you brothers over to the platform where we really take a deep dive on manhood, masculinity, godliness, and all of those other things. So let's get it, people, man. We'll go live and we'll give them about 3 more minutes to come in, man. The reason why I want to touch on this topic, man, is because as men who have lived a certain life for many years and then turn our lives to God, and most of us do that young. I was 22 maybe. I was 21, just about to turn 22 when I took the vow to Nazarite. And so, I lived a lot of life and did a lot of things and experienced a lot of things that I wouldn't take part in right now, and some things that were necessary for me to learn valuable lessons. And it's easy for us to feel like we deserve certain pains and certain sufferings based on the things that we've done in the past. And I want to cover that today so we as men can stop holding ourselves accountable for things that we've already paid our debt, not only to society in some cases, but also to God for the sins that we've committed in our lives. And now it's time for us as men to be able to move on and embrace the new lives, the new results of the new lives that we live now. Kazan, salute to you, brother. Salute. I live 10 toes. Salute. Mr. Slab, I see you, homie. Chris, what up? Quay, salute. So we'll get the people till about 5 minutes, man. We got about another minute and a half, and we'll go ahead and start riding this thing out. Mr. O, I see you, brother. Salute. Just wanted to come in and touch on this topic, man. Why we love to suffer. Ten reasons you're addicted to suffering and pain. Again, if you want more content like this, subscribe to the King Ray Ray channel. This is where we do this. So, why is it that we love to suffer and feel pain? Pain makes you feel like you're living in the real world. It makes you feel something. And as men, we don't feel a lot because we don't function on emotions. But pain is something that we can identify with. Because pain, all of the things that we can control, we cannot control pain. We cannot control it. It is one of those things where if it is there, then you know it's there. Love, we can circumvent. Sadness, we can circumvent. Even joy. If you want to circumvent joy, you can circumvent joy. Pain can put you in a non-functional state. So let's take a deep dive into this one. Leroy Green, salute, brother. Appreciate the $20 super chat. Answer this for me. I make $1,600 a week. Have 2 kids with my girl, and she wants to work. Still, she don't want to be home and take care of the kids and be the wife. She has a daughter too. I should just go and take the risk. I don't even understand the question, bro. You should take what risk? You gotta be more specific, bro. You should go and take the risk. I mean, if you don't want a woman to work, then I mean you got to have things the way you want it. This isn't the show for that, brother. We talk about that on the, well, I guess I am live in this, streaming this on the BOA channel as well. But I mean, you got to have what you want in your life. Like, this is no question for you to even have to ask. You got to have what you want in your life. Now, granted, I'll be perfectly honest with you. If she wants to work, as long as she's bringing all the money home, then let her keep working. That's more money. But if she wants to work so she can do her own thing and have her own money and all of that, and you prefer for her to be home, then yeah, I can see where that presents a problem. But let's get into this thing, man. And moving forward, man, super chats have to be related to this topic. If the super chat's not related to this topic, man, then you're just gonna waste your money. So, and that's moving forward. All super chats must be related to the topic. If not, I'm just gonna ignore them. All right, let's get into this. We got a couple of elephants in the room we're gonna cover. The first elephant is many of us, most of us, don't feel like we deserve love. You ever notice how many men are quick to say that love doesn't exist? There is no love. Love is this. Love is bad. Love is. Most of us don't feel like we deserve love, so we don't even want to think about the existence of love, because then if we think about the existence of love, then we think about something positive, and we have to tell ourselves that there's something positive that we don't deserve. How many of us want to look ourselves in the mirror and say, you are such a foul individual that you do not deserve love, this existing wonderful thing that brings people joy? So many of us don't feel like we deserve love. And elephant number two, most of us don't even believe love exists. I want you to think about that. We don't believe love exists. All of these possible relationships with family, with friends, with women, even with God. Most of us don't believe we deserve love. That's why many men can't even bring themselves to gravitate toward God, man, because they don't feel like they deserve to be blessed. Many of us are bound to the things that not only that we've done wrong in our lives, but the way that men are viewed by society at large. We all just group ourselves into that simply because other people group us into it. Elephant number three. Without love, there is only hate. There's only two emotional planes to exist on: love and hate. There is no in between. Either you exist in an emotional realm of love or you exist in an emotional realm of hate. And we know the difference. Any man who denies this is simply a man who is in denial about the truth of this life that we live. There's a truth to this life that we live. And the truth of this life is that if you don't exist in a realm of love, you exist in a realm of hate. And the first, love and hate, is of self. So if you exist in a realm of love, it's because you have founded your life on self-love. If you exist in a realm of hate, it's because you have founded your life on self-hate. And self-hate brings us into our topic today: why we love suffering and pain, and how to recover from this addiction. Many of us are addicted to suffering and pain. That's why a man can have all bad relationships, can have all foul experiences with women in relationships, and continue to pursue hundreds of women at a time. That's why a man can get fired from 5 jobs and still be looking for a 6th job instead of trying to create his own source of revenue. That's why a man can have terrible experiences being inebriated with alcohol or some type of substance, and then have a terrible time, end up in jail, end up hurt, end up getting robbed, end up with any terrible thing happening to him. He goes right back to doing it again. Because many of us hate ourselves. Masochism is what we're talking about. A need or desire for pain that you have internalized as your just desserts. You have internalized that you deserve pain. And to the brother Leroy Green, hey man, that's $6,400 a month. That's $6,400 a month. If you can't control the environment you're in and you make that kind of money, you got the wrong woman, brother. You understand? You have to put your foot down. You have to stop acting like there's a choice. It's either or. It's my way or no way, and no way is okay. Never let a woman and some children keep you from pursuing the thing that you want to pursue in life, because everyone's going to benefit when you get there, whether you're with the woman or not. Now, what we feel, why do we feel this need or desire for pain and suffering? It's basically because we need relief from the fakeness of this society we live in. We get fake praise. We get ulterior motivated adulation from people. People like you for all the wrong reasons. People act like they like you when they really don't. People act like they support you when you really don't. People love you when you're down, hate you when you're up. All of the things we deal with in this society, man, it just shows us that this society is so fake. So we need to feel something real. And what's real? We don't believe in love. We all believe in pain. Pain is the realest thing we experience in this world, man. You may not remember all of your pleasures, but I can guarantee you remember all of your pains. You may not remember every woman whose heart you broke, but I bet you remember every woman who broke yours. You may not remember every person you've knocked out, but I bet you remember every person who's knocked you out. You may not remember every lie you've told, but I guarantee you remember every person that's lied to you. You may not remember every good meal you had, but I bet you remember every bad meal you had, but you thought you had food poisoning. You may not remember every animal you've ever eaten, but I guarantee you remember everybody that's ever hit your dog in a car. We all remember our pains. And we need that. That makes life real. If you go a certain period of time without experiencing pain, you start to look at life like what's going on. The struggle of the grind of putting yourself in a position where you win financially. That's why we enjoy the process so much. That's why I tell you, man, focus on the process of progress. Don't worry about the progress itself. Focus on the process, because the process is where the pain and suffering comes from. That's how you get to a certain point and never fall off intentionally, because you remember the pain, you remember the suffering, you remember the struggle, you remember the times where you didn't eat, you remember the times where you ate something you didn't want to eat, you remember the times where you couldn't sleep no matter how tired you were. You remember all of these things because these things represent the pain. And deep down inside, we're all masochists. We love the pain. We need the pain. We thrive on the pain because we need relief from the fakeness of the society we live in. Everyone around you has an ulterior motive. Ulterior motives aren't all bad, but you must accept the fact that everyone around you has an ulterior motive. Either they want to leech off of you, or they want to ride your coattail, or they want you to benefit them in some way. Even if it's a mutually beneficial situation, it's still the same thing. Ulterior motive. Lone Wolf, welcome to the family, brother. Another thing, man, is we grow up, especially as men, we grow up being overly sympathetic to someone else's pain and suffering. And sometimes it has the effect on us that we need to share in their misfortune. It almost serves to make us feel more human. You see what I'm saying? Especially when you're young. Like when you're young, think about this. When you're young, if you see your mother go through some things, let's say your dad is abusive. Let's say she's got an abusive boyfriend or something like that. And you see that, it makes you become Captain Superhero Saver Chick when you become an adult. because you need to put yourself in a situation where you can prevent someone else from their pain and suffering, even if it means you must suffer yourself. This is all psychological, man. That's why so many of us are so quick to have this angst toward women. Why? Because we need to share in the pain of the men that we know, who no matter how much of a simp they were in a relationship, we need to experience their pain. We need to come in and share in that. We need to point the finger and say, that pain was caused by this woman. And so it's my goal to inflict as much pain on her, on them, as I can, which in turn hurts us more as men by taking us away from the emotional control that would keep us from putting ourselves in that situation in the first place. Anytime you feel the need to inflict pain on someone because of the pain they inflicted on someone else, you know deep down inside that pain is coming back to you in return. Even if it's just a trip to the clinic, still pain, emotional pain, embarrassment. Sometimes you take that trip to the clinic and it's more than emotional pain and embarrassment. It's something physical that you'll never get rid of. Sometimes it'll get rid of you before you get rid of it. So when you see that your mother was treated this way, your sister was treated this way, your grandmother was treated that way, you feel the need to jump in and make sure that no other woman is treated that way. That's how you end up in a situation being Mr. Nice Guy, which never works, to a woman who then takes advantage of you and treats you the way you wish your loved one would have treated that man. Why couldn't she have been meaner? Why couldn't she have been more elusive? Why couldn't she have been more cruel? Why couldn't she have cared less? Why couldn't she have acted as if no matter what he did, she didn't care? The same way the woman is doing you right now in the future. We take other people's pain into our bosom as men because, remember now, we feel like protectors. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, we feel like protectors. That's why a man will see a man having something going on with his wife, and you will interfere and end up getting jumped on by both of them, or possibly end up getting yourself hurt because you want to jump in and take that woman's pain away. Or you want to jump into a situation and take a man's pain away. That pain has to go somewhere. If you're going to take the pain from the woman, you're going to take it to yourself. That's why I say always make sure the people around you deserve whatever you give them. Whether it's male, female, child, whoever it is, make sure they deserve what you give, because otherwise you're going to do a whole bunch of giving and you're not going to do any receiving. And that in itself leads to pain. Shinobi Style. Salute, bro. Appreciate the $10 super chat. Pain makes us feel more human. To share in other people's pain makes us feel more human. To protect other people from their pain makes us feel more human. But just remember, anytime you absolve them of their pain, you take that pain into your own bosom, into your own life, into your own spirit, into your own psyche. See, let me tell you something that happens to a lot of men in this society. Occasionally, see, we all have this cloak of false bravado and elevated self-validation, elevated self-value. And we wear it around like a uniform. That's why I say all the time, take a peek into a man's life and you get to see who that man really is when he takes off his cloak of bravado. But here's the thing, occasionally we have to peer from under that cloak of bravado into the real world, and other forms of elevated self-validation that we use, we have to peek from under those things. And you know what we find? We're faced with a reminder of the self-hate we suppress on a daily basis. Any man who's angry at the world, he's not angry at the world. He's angry at himself. But it doesn't have the same effect inflicting that pain on himself anymore. So he goes out into the world and he wants to share his pain and suffering and misery with the world. We've all heard the old saying, misery loves company. Yes, misery loves company. And so a man who is miserable, a woman who is miserable, is going to try to spread that misery to everyone around them. But where did the misery begin in their lives? A lot of times it starts from bad parenting. Your parents didn't shower you enough with rewards for your good to balance out all the punishment they gave out for your wrongdoing. It was much easier for them to chastise you for doing something they didn't agree with than it was for them to give you adulation and elevate your value when you did something that impressed them or amused them. And so you grow up as an adult and all you ever know is punishment. All you ever know is the correct recompense for your pain and suffering. You never know the correct recompense for your positivity. You never get that. You know how many men grew up in a household with a woman who never said, I love you? You know how many men grew up in a household with a man who never said, I love you, son? How can you as a man not express, especially you knowing as a man, you don't get a whole lot of love in this world. So how can you not express love to your son? I'll tell you why. Because your father didn't express it to you. And now we're in a society where everybody feels like they're so masculine. There's that false sense of bravado again, where you cannot even express to your son or your father verbally that you love them. And if you can't get the love of your father, you don't understand the love of God. You simply don't understand it. So when you have to accept the fact that you suppress this self-hate every day, you're quick to duck back into that cloak of false bravado. A bunch of the toughest guys you know are really just hurt little boys, man. They've been hurt since they were children. And they're acting out in pain. They ain't tough. They hurt. And after a while, pain becomes anger. Not anger because pain just, makes you a monster, but because unsolved pain, unhandled pain, unbridled pain, just pain that's overwhelming, man. Eventually you just get angry because it hurts and it drives you crazy to just be in pain all of the time. But here's the thing about being in pain all the time. We are also creatures of habit. So the longer you spend in pain, the more likely you are to embrace more pain, because eventually it just becomes normal. Normalcy can be anything. If you're a drug addict, then being in a drug house getting high, that's your pain. That's your normalcy. But it's nothing but pain. But that's your normalcy. We often ask women, well, you're in an abusive relationship. Why didn't you leave? Because pain became her normalcy. If you're in a relationship with a woman, man, that's dogging you out, man, treating you like a scrub, you don't even feel like a man, you're miserable, why don't you leave? Because that becomes your normalcy. And we are more likely to gravitate toward and hold on to what we're most familiar with. No matter if it's good or bad, that's just what we do. We hold on to what we're most familiar with. Why? Because that's just the way we function as men, as humans even. A lot of times, and this is a little bit deeper dive, but a lot of time the pain comes from just, especially as men, but even in this society as women, being treated fragile and handled with care, like you might break, sometimes makes us long for proof of our toughness and perseverance. Sometimes we just need proof that we're tough. Sometimes we need proof that we can handle something. Sometimes we need proof that we have perseverance. Sometimes we have proof that we can be focused. Sometimes we need to show proof that we can be determined. Similar to let's say an ill-prepared teenager leaving home. Let's say you're 17, 18 years old. You don't know nothing. Don't even know how to pay a bill. But you're going to leave home because you got to show your parents that you don't need them. Sometimes being treated fragile and handled with care, we need to go out. We need to experience that toughness. It's going to be tough out there in this world. I don't care. I'm going out here to see. I don't need y'all. You go out there to see. See what I'm saying? You have to go out there and you have to experience the pain that these adults have been warning you about. Because hearing about the pain ain't the same as feeling the pain, homies. We know that. We know that hearing about that pain, boy, it don't move you like feeling that pain. You feel that pain, boy, you feel something special. You know what I'm saying? Boy, that pain put something on you. We know it. Flam, salute famo, Harlem World Break. I see you, homie. Salute to the mod squad in the building. Represent like they always do. Y'all know how we get down. Y'all know how we get down. You know, the reality of the scenario is this, man. We have to convince ourselves that we deserve to live a pain-free life. We have to prove to ourselves that we deserve more than to just live in pain. We have to know that living in constant pain is nothing to look forward to. It's not our just desserts. Nothing to embrace. A lot of times we blame ourselves for our past transgressions. And I'm going to tell you, that shame and self-blame, or blame and self-shame, however you want to put it, for our past transgressions, leaves us desiring subconsciously to be taught a lesson. And don't let somebody have suffered for something you did. Oh boy, you talking about embracing pain. If someone has suffered for something that you did, you are going to find yourself in a tremendous amount of pain. And you may not ever be able to get over it. You may not ever be able to get over it. And this is something that I believe all of us as men must embrace. It is okay for you to be the one who made it. It is okay for you to be the one who didn't go to prison. It is okay for you to be the one who didn't get murdered. It is okay for you to be the one who made it all the way through the fire. It is okay for you to be the one who's made it to a level of success. It is okay for you to be the one who's financially independent. It's okay for you to be the one who has the beautiful, supportive, gorgeous, down, loyal wife. It is okay for you to be the one who has the children you couldn't be more proud of. It is okay for you to be the one who has the strong, positive relationship with God. It is okay for you to be the one who leads the family now, even though you may have older brothers, older sisters, older uncles, cousins, all of those things. It is okay for you to be the patriarch of the family. It is okay for you to be the matriarch of the family. It is okay for you to be the one that God is blessed to put in a position of superiority. You don't have to feel guilty about that. You didn't put yourself in that position. What are you going to do? Look at God and say, God, shame on you for putting me in this position. I got an older brother. He should have been in it. It is perfectly acceptable for you to accept your plight. You have to grasp the world in which you live, the real world, the reality of your life, and appreciate it for all the good and bad. Because those two things coincide with one another to create the amazing existence that we live right now. The one that seeking pain will cause us to overlook. So stop the blame. Stop the self-shame for your past transgressions. You have already paid that debt to society. You have already paid that debt to God. You have already paid that debt to yourself. Why are you still allowing people to pin you to the past to make you think you deserve pain for something you've already suffered for? Makes no sense. None. It is okay for men in their 50s, 60s, 40s to still come to me for advice on their lives. It is okay for men. It is okay for any man to seek what he needs from any other man. We can't determine who God blesses with the wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. All we can do is find that wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, wherever it may be located. Anthony Glover, salute, brother. Appreciate the $50 sponsorship of the show, man. I appreciate it. What we have to understand is this, man. A lot of times, experiencing your parents or other loved ones suffer and feeling helpless to help them when you're a child leaves us with an idea that we are deserving of punishment because we could have done more. We could have done more to save that person. We could have done more to prevent that person suffering. We could have done more to intervene. We could have done more to stop the onslaught of suffering and pain. We could have done more. Listen, brother. You couldn't have done anything more than you did, because if you had known more to do then, you would have done it. Sometimes you got to just stand back and let God work. And understand that you didn't intervene because God didn't want you to. You can't just jump off the porch and do everything you feel. Notice I said feel like you want to do, because sometimes you're getting in God's way. And I just don't think you want to do that. In your own life or anybody else's life, you don't want to get in God's way. So if you saw someone suffer something as a child, man, there was nothing you can do. And you can't go back in time, so why are you still worrying about it? It's done. It's over. You got to move forward. You got to embrace life. You got to take the bulls by the horn, man, and you got to go. Stop believing you deserve punishment because you didn't prevent somebody else's punishment. Because I can promise you this. When you do something that deserves a punishment, I can promise you ain't nobody going to get in the way and take yours for you. Don't worry, I'll save you. No one's going to come say that. Now, after we talk about all of these pains and all of this suffering, how do we recover from this addiction to pain? What is it that we do to recover from this addiction to pain? I'm going to give you 3 steps here. The first one is you have to understand that everything happens for a reason, and that reason is hardly ever to punish you. No matter what happens in your life, it is hardly ever taking place to cause you pain. So you have to stop looking forward to pain from things. Many men will not step out on faith and do anything in their lives because they're too busy worrying about the pain that could possibly come from it. You can't live your life in fear of pain, because pain is coming regardless. There is going to be pain. You ain't got to go looking for it. What you have to do is master the art of accepting pain as just a part of life. It's going to come. Don't worry about it. It comes. You overcome it. You move on. It makes you tougher. But you don't have to seek it. It comes in its due time. So everything happens for a reason. And you got to stop thinking that something happens and it's meant for you to receive some type of punishment from it. Because 9 times out of 10, you've already been punished for whatever you've done. The second step. Man, you got to remember, life is full of ups and downs. That's just life. It's not going to always be up. It's not going to always be down. Life is full of ups and downs. Your goal is to balance the two to where your life is half up, half down. At least you can go 60-40 up. You don't want to go 60-40 down, but at least 50-50. You want to balance the ups and downs in life, the hills and valleys, the mountain, the peaks and valleys, so to speak. But life is full of ups and downs, man. You can't let the downs cause you pain. They're a part of the. How can you ever go? Listen, nothing continues to go straight up. The only way you can keep coming up is if you keep going down and coming up. Now, I'm not saying you want your life to be on a roller coaster, but what I'm saying is whenever you get something to the peak and you want to start something else, you're always going to start from the valley. And you got to take that next thing to the peak. And then you got to start from the valley. And then you got to take that next thing to the peak. And that's just a continuation of the cycle of life. You take something to the peak, you start something else from the valley and build it to the peak. Life is full of ups and downs, brothers. There's nothing wrong with that. Jamar Satterwhite, man, appreciate the $4 super chat. Shalom, big brother. Need to hear that. Salute, bro. Gift of gab. A lot of us don't learn how to learn from our past. There's no such thing as learning from the past. All of us know how to learn lessons. It's not about learning from the past. It's about moving on from the past. You move on from the past. Listen, here's the thing about moving on from the past. You're going to move on from the past whether you want to or not because life continues to go. Like if you stuck on 5 years ago, it ain't got nothing to do with you not learning. It got something to do with you not being strong. It got something to do with you not saying, okay, there's nothing I can do about that. You're not letting logic permeate anything else in your life. Your feelings are tied to the past, but logic is telling you, bro, that's 5 years ago. You know you could do about that. That's gone. But your feelings are still tied to it. Your job is to make sure that your mind controls your feelings. You don't want your feelings to control anything, ever. As a man, you can't afford for your feelings to control anything. So what you have to do is you've already learned from the past. The lesson, you picked up the lesson. Learning lessons from what you experience is easy. Moving on from the pain of that experience is what's hard. So you got to get out of your feelings. You got to take yourself out of your emotions. That's how you leave the past where it is. Because the thing is, your entire being is moving forward except your feelings. 5 years later, your ass is 5 years older. If something happened when you were 20, 5 years down the line, I don't care how emotionally tied to that you are. You're 25 now. 10 years down the line, you 30. It don't matter how emotionally tied you is to 10 years ago, you 30. And you got to accept the reality of life. And the reality of life is you cannot afford to be hung up on some pain from the past. You just can't afford to do it. And the third step to overcoming this addiction to pain and suffering is you got to put God first in everything you do. You have to put God first in everything you do. Many men have become successful. Many men have turned their lives around. Many men have put themselves in position to win, but many of those same men are still butthurt and heartbroken from the past. See, it's easy to put on the cloak of false bravado, put on the cloak of, hey, I'm successful now, cover everything up in money and fashion and style and fancy cars and all of that. But when you go home at night and park that car in the garage, man, take those fancy clothes off, you still the same hurt little boy that has not moved on from the past. And you can't move on from the past if you don't put God first in everything. That's why you're emotionally hung up in the past. That's why your logic won't overcome your feelings. That's why your wisdom, understanding, and knowledge won't overcome your feelings. You got to put God first in everything. So that logic, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge will abound in your outlooks. And your feelings will not keep you tied to situations that are done. Those situations are old, they're over, they're done, and you still emotionally tied to them because you don't have a relationship with God. And so you can't dig into the spirit of the man that you are and say, spiritually, I am above that pain. Spiritually, I am above that hurt. Spiritually, I am above that frustration. Spiritually, I am above that angst. Spiritually, I am above that sadness. Spiritually, I am elevated above anything I could possibly feel emotionally. And that's your goal as a man, to develop a strong enough relationship with God. Many men don't believe in God. They say ain't no God. They can believe whatever they want to believe. But many of those men were raised in church. And so yes, if you are a man who was raised in church, you get to a certain point where you don't believe there is a God because your only relationship with anything or any understanding of a God is in church. Yes, eventually as a masculine man, you're going to shy away from that because there's no masculinity in it. And that's just the truth of the matter. Christianity just does not promote masculinity. It doesn't promote femininity either. It promotes we're all the same. And that's more dangerous than just promoting femininity. But us here in the kingdom of Ray, us here in the alpha sphere, we understand that you have to put God first in everything you do. Otherwise, you're going to be an emotional wreck and you're going to be out here functioning in and out of pain like women do. That's why they run into the church so much. They believe they can leave their pain in the church. They believe that somebody in there is going to cover them for their pain, even though they still out here suffering all of that pain. They in church all the time, but they're still taking psychotropics because you can't leave your pain in the church. You can go in there and get a good feeling from the man preaching and talking and doing all of that right there. But when you leave out of there again, you go home and you get into their room. You got that glass of wine again. Why? Because that pain is still there. Telltale sign that a woman is in pain, man, if she's a wine drinker. Women don't drink wine just to be wine bibbers. Women drink wine because wine it mellows out that pain. So align yourself with God, man. Align yourself with the Most High. Put yourself in a position to win, and win you shall. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long, man. We got another show coming up this evening, 8:15 Central Standard Time on the BOA channel. Tonight's show will be entitled "The 20-Step Pimp Principle Program." As a matter of fact, let me tell y'all what that's called again. It's a pretty long name, man. I'm going to give it to y'all right now, though, man. We're going to find out what it's called right now. Because I ain't going to lie to you. The 20-Step Pimp Principle Nice Guy Recovery Program. The 20-Step Pimp Principle Nice Guy Recovery Program. That's going to be tonight's show, 8:15 Central Standard Time, which will be 9:15 on the East Coast. It'll be 6:15 on the West Coast. So so make sure you align with your time so you can be there, be square, man. It's going to be a phenomenal show. It's going to be a little bit longer than we normally do, man. So y'all bring your snacks, man. Bring your beverages and get ready to sit in with me, man, because we going to talk tonight again. The 20-Step Pimp Principle Nice Guy Recovery Program, because it ain't going to do you no good being a nice guy out here, man. So y'all tell everybody you know to tune in for the show, because we going to go. I'm going to tell you like that now. Jamal, appreciate the $10 super chat, homie. Appreciate it. So, Flams, Hollywood, Harlem World Breaker. Salute to y'all brothers, man, for being in the building, man. Once again, to the homie Anthony Glover, man, for the $50 sponsorship of the show, and everybody else with the super chats and support. I appreciate y'all, man. We going to head on out of here. Y'all put God first. Keep grinding and growing, my brothers. Peace.